conversation anymore.
Little black girl, you know
I appreciate if you do take my word because that's honest.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Boat 91. Listen, we're back with another one. It's super panel time. Yes, this is where we invite people like yourself up onto the stage to discuss right at first sight. Let me just say this first and foremost. David. You know what I'm saying to you? Shakira said their hips don't lie. But brother, these lies are not good. Look, if you gonna lie and you gonna cheat and you gonna steal, I'm gonna need you to do it properly. Okay? All right? If you gonna lie, you gonna cheat, you gonna steal, I'm gonna need you to do it properly. Okay? Now, I don't know if you were trying to torture Michelle. I don't know if you were trying to hurt her. I don't know if you were trying to break her. But brother, if they ask you why you sent a text at 9:35 saying I want to eat you up, you better tell her, listen, I can't lie to you, I had a drunk moment. I did send you that text. You know, I hope you didn't see it because I was a little bit drunk. I sent that message to you and I do apologize. Right? And you could have left it there. But brother said, no. I'll send a text to my cousin, and my cousin, was literally, was eating food, and, I don't know about you, but you sent me a text saying that you want to eat me up. I'm looking good and you want to eat me up is crazy. Okay? No, don't lie. No, baby, don't lie. You know what I'm saying to you? Brother, it was simple. I don't understand how Chinatown gets drawn into it. I don't know how does Chinatown get into it? How is it you don't even know how to explain the plate of food that you're talking about? Nah, man. The lie was bad. You know what I mean? Listen, I hear it. I'm all for, like someone said, standing 10 toes down. But you gonna stand 10 toes down with at least a decent lie. That lie, no, baby. No, don't lie. No, baby. No, you don't try. You know what I'm saying to you? Yeah, I can't. You know what I'm saying to you? I can't deal with that. You know what I'm saying to you? So 2025 is a year of clarity. If you're going to lie correctly. Otherwise, don't waste anybody else's time. We also had Madison and obviously Michelle. I don't know why Michelle was even vexed. Michelle, why are you so angst about the fact that a brother who you don't even want sends you a text about that? You just said, listen, hey, I don't even care. Because to be honest, I don't even want your ass. But she made it her mission to want to push this agenda through. Michelle, you don't even want him. Huh? All right? But you don't even want him. All right? You acting like your name was K. Michelle. Huh? He's like, I'm all cried out with nothing to say. Whatever you will be. I said K. Michelle, it's even Keisha. Come and take this pain away. Last night, when you text me your answer, I try to call, but your phone won't let me down. I'm sitting here with this blank expression. Anyway, listen, my thing is, I don't know why she really wanted to know so deeply. You don't want him. So to be fair, I'm surprised she pushed it into so much. Like, it was, for me, unnecessary. Okay, all right? It was unnecessary, all right? But she's actually right. He was lying, okay? All right? So I'm not going to, I ain't going to say nothing too tough. You get what I'm saying to you? All right. So that was them. Madison and Alan, can I be honest with you? Madison and Alan is crazy because, again, they got deep. And I think it was really good because they both exposed that they both had toxic backgrounds. And you can tell that the toxic backgrounds in terms of the parents that not being there, but also how their personalities have also impacted how they also developed. Because we see with Madison, she's a bit more type A, like she gets things done, and a little bit more dismissive, whereas you know, with Alan, he's a bit more anxious. You know what I'm saying to you? You can tell that he's a bit more, you know, with his situation that came with his parents. He felt like he was to blame. He felt like, you know, that his stepsister, you know, she was blaming him. He took on a lot of fault and a lot of problems onto himself in that space, and I can see how that's impacted him in the long run. So to be honest, I definitely hear it. I definitely see it as well. So I can understand the difficulties that, you know, he would have faced as a child and why he is the way he is now. In terms of their relationship, it ain't going nowhere. We already know it ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying to you? We know it ain't going nowhere. We know it ain't going nowhere. Okay, all right. She shared those things and was comfortable, but she ain't going nowhere. And then obviously we had Juan and Karla. Can I be honest with you? Juan and Karla, you know, listen, brother wants her to have a business plan by the end of this marriage, okay? That is all he's looking for. He wants to see a business plan. He wants to see her executing. He wants to see he wants to have her, you know, have Karla in pole position to open up her business and her store by the end of the day. You know what I'm saying to you? But really and truly, I'm not really seeing any real connection between the two of them. Can I be honest with you? I ain't seen the connection. I'm not seeing it. I've just not seen it. I'll be honest with you, I've not seen it. So that's another thing there. And then obviously we have and then we also have and then we also have why my brain going mush? Ike and obviously Emem. Can I be honest with you? Ike, I'm done with Ike. I'm tired of Ike. I don't even have the energy to scream today. I'm just tired of Ike. I'm tired of him. You agree to move in. You start to move in, and you're like, actually, I don't know if I want to move in. I want to protect my peace. And I'm like, blood, what's going on? What's going on? You know what I'm saying to you? Like, after a while, you're just like, Ike, what is it? What do you want? We communicate with you. We talk to you. You know what I'm saying to you? And all you have to do is have a conversation, and you can't even do that. We tired. We are tired, my brother. Let it go. Okay? Let it go. It's boring. All right? It's boring. And obviously then, I'm going to go to my notes. Make sure I've got everybody in tow. I think that's sort of what I always put one couple. I know I always forget one couple. Camille and Thomas. Okay. So Camille and Thomas, obviously with Camille and Thomas, you know, Camille went to Camille's family, and we saw that, you know, her dad was pushing her in sports and stuff, and that's why she's so like driven, because her dad was always pushing her, etc., etc. And then we got to see Thomas's family as well in terms of his mum, and his mum. It was like the one thing that she said she can talk about Thomas was he's sensitive. I said, damn, that's the one thing you picked up. Anything else? She said he's kind and obviously as well, but the one thing she mainly picked up was that he's sensitive. I said, damn. I said, Thomas must really be sensitive, because even the mum picked up he was sensitive. I said, everybody's picking up that he is sensitive. I said, you know what? It's going to be a tough one. But again, I love the fact that, you know, Camille was there, and she actually walked the mother through it, and she stayed with the mother, held her hand, just kind of was just there. And I respect that. You know what I'm saying to you? I ain't never going to be mad about that. I said, damn, you know, but yeah, the mama was definitely kind of clowning, and I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, boy, mummy, I'm gonna need you to chill. Okay, you gave that boy away. You know what I'm saying to you? I need you to relax. But it was good to see both of their backgrounds, and good to see that how both of them, now we understand a bit more about their family. So yeah, it was it was an interesting watch. But okay, I think Camille and Thomas are probably going to be the only couple that will actually make it. You know what I'm saying to you? I think Camille and Thomas are the only couple that will end up making it. You know, so to be fair, yeah, I'm not too. What do I say? I'm not too confident about the rest of the couples, but them two, I think they'll make it. You know. All right. Let me just break down before the panel come on. Let me, you know what I mean? Let me just, let me just get this going. All right. I want to break down the wine situation real quickly because I said I was going to do that. And then I'm going to get Trey on as well and a couple of other people on to come on as well. So I'll see you guys there. Let me just quickly get this wine situation. I wanted to break this down because for me personally, the wine situation was quite... When they were doing their letters, I was like annoyed by Juan a little bit because he was like going on like he was superior. And I was like, Juan, you in the same boat. You couldn't even write your letter. You know what I'm saying to you? Okay, let me just put this on. Here we go. Let me just do this quick breakdown, and then we'll get panel going. Okay. He said, obviously, he was quick to point out the fact that, oh, you know what? You know, he was like, oh, you know, I experienced some of those wars, you know, and why you're quick to go up and down real quick. I said, oh, you fast to point out other people's flaws. Okay. Have you fully healed? Because you fast to point out some of these things. You know what I'm saying to you? You quick to point out stuff, but I'm looking at it going, all right, fair enough. I appreciate the fact that obviously with Karla's story, I understood a bit. They're the same people. If you notice, it's actually the same people. Both people wanting to have fun. Both of these people wanted to actually have fun, and they both came from backgrounds where they promised themselves that they're going to enjoy themselves. So why isn't it they're not enjoying themselves? You know what I'm saying to you? See, when you're in a place of judgment, not inquiry, the first thing that Juan should have been doing is inquiring about Karla and why she wants to have fun and why she la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di. Because he has a backstory. And this is what happens when you are not fully healed. It's hard to be able to hold space for other people. It is difficult. I won't lie to you. It's one of the hardest things. When you're still triggered, because you're still trying to make sense of your own situation. You're barely hanging on your own self, to your own relationship, right? You're barely hanging on to your own kind of emotional safety that you're dealing with, right? It can be very difficult, yeah. So what will end up happening is you won't be able to hold space for someone else. And instead of Juan holding space for Karla and be like, you know what is the reason why Karla is just always so like la-di-da-di-da-di-da-da, and she's like all over the shop? What is that reason? Right? Why is it that she's like that? If you had been able to slow it down a little bit, right, he would have got an answer. But he doesn't get one because he's actually in a place of judgment, and so he judges her. And then because he judges her, because he's also afraid, he doesn't feel safe. So now he has to judge every movement she makes because her movement makes him feel triggered. Now, this is why I talk about the fact that when he was talking, I was like, why is he talking as if that he's in a better place? He ain't in a better place. Let's play a little bit more and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay.
This was like going back and you could have changed some of these things. How do you think your life would be different now?
Now, it's interesting because obviously when Karla released this information about her feeling sad and her feeling like, you know what, at the end of the day for her, she was very quiet. She said she was invisible at points in time. And she said that, she would just kind of slink into the background, but then she chose to now change that. It makes sense why she felt some type of way when Juan was paying more attention to David than he did to her. When he told her that he had forgot about her, she was triggered in that moment. So it was definitely a background aspect because she told her she let us know why. Without saying it, she let us know why that first day at the honeymoon when he forgot about her, why she went hurricane. Because it was like, wait, Carla, we're getting spiteful because he forgot to like bring you in. Like, why are we doing that? And the reason was because, again, in that space, okay, all right, that space, she was feeling like she was being taken back to as being a kid, where she's being made to be invisible once more. Okay, so I definitely understand that particular part as well. That difficulty of someone making you feel like you're going back to being a child again and lashing out. That's something she needs to work on. But again, we got some more information that really helped us to understand her a bit better as well. Okay, let's play a little bit more, and then I'm gonna get the guys on as well. So. If the thing decides to play.
My life.
And I think that's that part there. She says there, you know, if she was invisible, nobody would have anything to say, and that in itself is, that in itself is a great example. Is a great example of what I mean by people paying attention. People feeling some type of way about their past, and it comes up in the present. So you notice how when she's explaining that about, you know, she would intentionally become Invisible Woman in order to help her navigate difficult circumstances. But it's the same thing that triggers her in a marriage or in a relationship. She wants to be seen. She wants to be heard. And so that aspect, when your partner then doesn't do that, or your partner doesn't make you feel seen or heard, you've got to use your words. But we saw with her that, like anybody else, when they have an insecure attachment, the first thing they do is, when they don't know how to communicate assertively difficult emotions and difficult feelings, passive aggressive behavior takes place. And this is something you have to learn how to come out of that space, where you have to learn that you want to get your needs met, you're going to have to speak. You're going to have to speak. You're going to have to talk up, right? That's essential. Okay. Now he says here, listen. He said here, oh, you know, he said, oh, you know, I've never really, he talks about inner child resolve and resolving the issues. And I was like, Captain, okay, he's resolved the inner child issues the last 3 years. And I said, well, I said this after he said it, because obviously he then explains his situation. I was like, what has he actually resolved? You know what I'm saying to you? Yeah. What has he resolved? Okay. What has he resolved? Because even as I was listening to him, I didn't really feel like he was actually I didn't feel like he was actually listening to her. And that's just me. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm judging him through my lens. So I want to be very clear, very fair to him. When I was listening to him, maybe I was judging a little bit. I didn't really feel like he was really listening to her. I didn't feel like he was really like hearing her and be like, you know, I understand where you're coming from. I get it now. You know, like, oh, it makes sense. I didn't feel like he was really paying attention. It almost like, have you finished? Because I'm ready to go. That's all I was hearing. Like, have you finished? Because I'm ready to go. You get what I'm saying to you? So I was like, this was a great opportunity to be like, you know what, Carla, I really get it now. You know, I'm having a bit more grace for you, and understanding where you're coming from now. You know, you've made me understand you better. Like, now I can understand why you want to be having those days, whatever. I didn't really hear any of that, because none of his feedback was anything to do with what he actually heard. So I didn't really feel like he was there in that moment. And exactly, he was still making her feel invisible. But the reality of the situation was, because she didn't want to, I'm guessing, not make it a big scene, right? She did. So you notice the difference between what she did and what he did. Later on, when he's crying and bawling out like a little kid, and no offense, because it's your trauma, at that point, she gets up, she hugs him. But we don't see any of that kind of behavior from him. We don't hear no words of comfort. We don't hear any words of encouragement. We don't hear anything that's going to be like, I heard you. I see you. None of it. Okay, hold on. Let me just All right, cool. Let's play a bit more of this. Come on. Before it even starts, notice that, okay, you know, there was no, okay, thank you for sharing. I appreciate you sharing. You know, I heard you. There was nothing in response to what she shared. He was just ready to share. And I think she clocked it because this hand on her neck and this gormless stare that she has here tells me that she knew that she disconnected. Disconnected. And you can see it because her eyes are really kind of glazing and her hand on her neck. She's like, she's here, but she's not here. Because there was an opportunity to connect. He didn't do it. There was an opportunity to really kind of have a connection in that moment. He failed to do it. He failed to give that aspect where he's like, let's create a safe space. And like I said, people that have not done the work, people that don't feel emotionally safe rarely are able to give other people that emotional safe space the way it needs to, because they're being triggered in that immediate moment. This was a great moment to connect with her and be like, I really see you. Thank you. You know, after she shared about being invisible, this would have been a point to be like, so how do I make sure that you're visible? Right? But okay. 6 months in. Let's talk about it. He said 6 months in, right? The baby. Now that's a very tough thing. He was being stolen at 6 months, and then obviously 6 years old. At 6 years old, I guess there was more separation between himself and the parents as well. His mother and father, obviously abandoned. I don't want to say abandoned. He felt abandoned by them because they had to run away, I guess, and for safety reasons, etc., financial safety reasons and stuff like that. The cartel were after them as well. So he understands it. But look how quickly he is to tell his story. But not only that, this goes back to what I said earlier on. There are men out there like Juan and others who are quick to tell their story because they actually haven't done the work. And this is a great opportunity for them to have a therapist without having a therapist. Right? So he's about to tell his story and he's going to break down the way he's breaking down because really and truly, honestly, right? He didn't connect with her. He didn't encourage her. He didn't even end that segment very, very well. But look how quick he is to tell his story. Have you finished? Oh, yeah. Okay, let me tell my story now. Okay. Last few bits and then we'll get the guys on now.
So your parents are leaving again, this time in search.
Boy, if the internet, when he got up like that and he started walking around, I said, yeah, you know what? Yeah, he needed someone to tell the story to. He ain't told that story to. Because it didn't matter who it was. It just needs to be a woman. No offense. It just needs to be a woman or a guy. I don't really care. He just needs to tell somebody. You know what I'm saying to you? Right? He just needed to tell somebody that story. Someone said, obviously, once he told a story about 6 months, probably parents told him. Probably. You know what I mean? But that's probably why that's why he has a level of coldness that comes across, because that's a level of abandonment that he had as a child. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, there's going to be a disconnect there. There's abandonment, there's betrayal, there's rejection there. I can understand. You know what I'm saying? She's not an excuse, but I can understand why. I mean, this ain't given that you resolve the issues. Someone asks, do you feel abandoned at 6 months old? Well, it does start from early, to be honest. So it does start from early. But would you know? No. So someone told him the story. You know what I'm saying? You can still feel abandoned at that age. You will. But would he been told this? Yes. You know what I'm saying to you? So someone obviously told him this story, and told him parts of it as well. So Sean said that Karla looks sick of Juan. I mean, listen, I can't lie to you. She's not connected either. She's actually zoning out. So if you look at her body language, she's zoning out. Look, her eyes and everything. She is zoning out, and it's because they're not connecting. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Right? They're not connecting. So she's also zoning out. So she's not in this. She's not in the zone. She's not in the zone either. She's not emotionally connected to the situation. You know what I mean? So once again, this is going to be triggering on both sides because he's not even aware of the fact that she's not involved right now. He's not aware. You know what I'm saying to you? This is a look that you give to that friend that's telling you the story for the 100th time and you're tired of hearing their story, but you got to hear it for 101 times. This is a look you give to them over the phone. Yeah? Not when you're in their person, not when you're in their midst, but when you're on the phone and your friend is telling you for the 101th time that story that you said that they shouldn't do this thing and they kept on doing it, but they want to tell you anyway, that's the look you give. You're zoned out. And that's where Karla was. She zoned out. So even though she gave him a hug and everything like that, that was standard procedure, but she was zoned out. She's no longer there.
And they will also lose their house in the housing crisis. And I plead you to have patience, to breathe, to control your anger, to be kind to your parents. Dear 16-year-old Juancho,
Karla said,
unfortunately, you'll have one of the hardest moments in your life. Your father will be diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Okay, so let me move it forward because
this is going to be a very hard moment for your family.
He telling the whole story, breaking it down, and I hear it, bro. I hear it. I really do. You know what I mean?
Be
like,
fine. Just please breathe.
I'm just bringing it forward a little bit.
Sincerely, your future self.
All of this hug thing is procedure. So when I say procedure, what I mean is a standard protocol. You get what I'm saying to you? He's crying. He's breaking down. It's standard protocol that she hugs him. It's not a big one. You know what I mean? Like, but for the most of the conversation, she was actually zoned out by the issue. She wasn't actually as present as she needed to be. And maybe she was being triggered herself, but it also could be the fact that, like I said, they're just not connecting. And so she's not also connected to his story because she doesn't feel seen and heard by him as well, right? Either way, yeah. I mean, these two got a lot of work to do outside of their own issue, outside of the relationship. Let me get the people on there because boy, oh boy, let me tell you this now. We gonna get straight to it. I ain't even got time tonight. Let's get straight to it because boy, oh boy, you know what? The Juan and the Karla situation was crazy. Let's get into this because we'll deal with David and Michelle after as well because somebody was lying. What's your guys' thoughts on this, man? Because obviously Juan and Karla were talking about their deep traumas, I guess. I think obviously just kind of hearing some of the things that was said and discussed, it seemed like it was very deep, but it felt like there was some separation. So, but I wanted to get what you guys thought and you ladies thought as well. What you thought was it? Elsa, you're shaking your head. What are you thinking? Talk to me.
We heard from Juan that his dad taught him this coping mechanism. If you continued if you were able to continue it, when his dad got his diagnosis, he just went out dancing. Didn't talk about it, didn't discuss it, didn't talk about feelings. He went out dancing. So for Juan, I think he just learned, cover it up. Keep on dancing. You don't have to talk about it. Just keep on moving. So I don't know how much feelings he can talk or does talk about because that's what he was taught. Now he's got to unlearn that. He can unlearn it. He can, but you have to at some point be able to emotionally connect. And I don't think Juan wants to connect with Karla. He's judging her for all of the things he thinks she should have, thinks she should be like, and so he won't emotionally connect with her. He'll tell her the story, he'll tell us the story, but he won't connect with her. And I'm sorry for him for that because he could be missing out totally, because she didn't give him affection until late after. And that was, unnecessary for it to be that late. But Karla also she's giving him what he's given her, stoic. I will sit here and I will listen and I will watch you, but I won't pour into you. And that's hurting her because she's such an emotive person. But, I hate to say it, but Juan's story is a very rough story. He's got a lot of changes in his life, a lot of loss that he's going to have to dig deep. He's going to have to dig deep. He's going to have to dig deep with a therapist, and he has to find himself in a relationship where there is some kind of understanding that, you know, he can flourish in.
I'm definitely hearing that. Trey, what's your thoughts?
Oh, how y'all doing, people? My Wi-Fi is acting a little crazy tonight, so if I drop off, I try to make it back in. A part of me wanted to start off by saying this was almost the best week Carla and Ron has had together, mostly, but it's still um it's interesting. When I was watching it, I saw a man that was, well, I don't know if he decided. It seemed like these letters to one another.
Trey, you going in and out, my brother. You going in and out. Maybe turn off your camera and then see if we can do audio and see if that works for you. You don't have to be on camera. It's all right, bro. See if that will work for you. We'll come back to Trey because I think he done froze. Sean, talk to me. What you saying, bro?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I think it's just another irresponsible exercise by the experts. You know, I've been on them, and I just think you know, I see where they're going with this in terms of wanting people to open up and get people to know about their past, but I think you need to know the backstory, and if they do know the backstory, I think it could have been handled a whole lot more responsibly, especially with the amount of trauma that exists between, you know, Juan and Carla's respective stories, their origin stories. I thought some of it was performative on Juan's part a little bit. And, you know, I give him some kudos for trying to open up. You know, looks like he was vulnerable. So I don't want to totally rail on him from that perspective. But to me, it was just kind of like, you know, he was just like, you know, when somebody, and, you know, we use these terms, trauma dumping. It's just like, okay, this is, you know, I'm just going to lay it all out on you. And then now what? You know, I just think like, so what next? Like, what's the next step? Like, so we've done this, we've opened up this part of vulnerability of ourselves. What's the next step? And I don't see the next step. So to me, it was just kind of like, we're just going to do something that gives the appearance of vulnerability, the appearance of getting us to know each other, but we're not really doing anything. You know, it's not going to go anywhere. He still doesn't really like her. You know, at the end of the day, she's still not willing to move the needle a little bit when it comes to affection. You know what I mean? Like, if this were going somewhere, then I could be like, oh, okay, well, I could see like we're trading off a little bit of trauma for some progress, but it's no progress, you know? And that's just what I see. I feel like he's like, all right, I'm going to lay this at your doorstep, and then we're going to keep going, and then I'm going to use this as a way to keep doing what I want to do, which is keep you at arm's length anyway.
I definitely hear that. El Cid, jump back in for me. What you know? What are you hearing?
I could hear what Sean says, and even though it's a letter to your younger self, how deep the person goes depends on them. You know, the expert, not that we know, is telling them to really dig deep, so they decide how much they're dumping at the other person's feet. But I hear Sean. The thing is that they're also kind of giving us insight. Yes, I understand. Now I totally get Carla's behavior with the, you know, feeling like she's invisible. Now I totally get Juan lash out because she, you know, where's Phil in the chat? because Karla's circumstances are not where he thinks they should be, being someone who has the same kind of cultural background coming to this country. And I think because people are very much reactive and, as Kojo said, judgy, they miss, a big part of the lesson is that they can still learn something from the other person. Totally miss that. So while I do appreciate Juan telling that, because that is a story many people, that not the nanny kidnapping, but the journey to the United States is one that many people of his descent can relate to. I think he's also using it to judge Karla and where she is. So I think that's why too she withdrew, because he's doing all these little snippy things, all these little slights to say I have but you don't. And the story could be looked at to say, look how far I have come, look where I am, and you're not doing much of anything. That was my first thought when I heard his story. It wasn't very forgiving of him. It wasn't very understanding. My first thought was, oh, we taking a jab at Karla again. And then when I watched it the second time, then I was like, no, let me focus on Juan. Let me focus on his words, because I was like, dude, if you are really using this to slight Karla, that's diabolical. And I can't put my mind in that if I'm trying to understand him. But yeah, Juan, unfortunately, as they said in the chat, he missed the moment. But Juan ain't trying to have a moment with Karla. Juan's moments with Karla end after 8 weeks. And he ain't even giving her a ride back to the storage unit. Okay? So Juan just wants to be done with this. We are married. We're done. Where do I sign the divorce papers? And Juan is just letting his story be out and using it to kind of give little jabs at Karla. One thing I will give him for this episode, he kept the meeting with the parents as private as she wanted it to be private. And he respected that. That is the one part of this whole thing for this episode with Juan that I appreciated, because he could have told a whole bunch of stuff or be snippy about the visit, but he was complimentary and he kept it, confidential like she wanted it. So that is the one grace I will give him.
Yeah, I mean, I think with obviously this situation, I think, watching it back again as well now on the screen, I think what was really powerful about it is it's a great example of, first and foremost, I think the experts who bring this kind of conversation way earlier, if they're going to do this experiment. This should have been at the very beginning of their conversations, right? This is something that they early need to talk about. Number two, I think also that we saw a great example of what happens when people trigger each other, that it's very difficult to hear the other person. Because when Karla's telling her story, Juan is just literally waiting to tell his story. So he's actually not really listening to really understand. He's listening to respond, right? And this is a real-time example of what it actually looks like. They weren't rude. So it's not even like, and that's why I think it's a great example, because what you actually see is not like anybody shouting at anybody. You don't hear anybody talking over the other person. You don't hear the other person cussing the other person out. So it's not your obvious markers. But when you look at the body language and the responses by both parties, you actually see how we're tuning out and missing opportunity to fully connect. Now, obviously with Karla, when she tells her story, he's so quick to want to get involved and tell his story. He doesn't give any kind of your usual fluff is what we normally give people. Like if Sean tells a story, we're gonna be like, what, Sean, that's difficult. You've been through that, bro. And we might even ask a few follow-up questions. Man, bro, now I kind of understand where you're coming from, bro. Like now it makes sense why certain things, as you're listening and you're paying attention to the person, something's going to click in your head. Oh, it makes sense why this and this and this was happening to you. And you kind of let the person know that you see them. But Juan didn't do that. And then when Juan's talking, Karla's tuned out. You know what I'm saying? Now, whether the chicken or egg comes first doesn't really make a difference. She's tuned out. And her body language, her eyes are telling us she's not involved in the conversation. And she goes through what we call the process in terms of just going through the motion. When she gets up, gives him a hug, it's what she's meant to do. You know what I'm saying? She, as a woman, especially when who are meant to be more, emotional and more in tune, she does what you're supposed to do. Get up, hug him, But her eyes, you can tell she's not there. And it's real time example of what happens with couples, even people who are in love, what can end up happening when they feel disconnected at a point. But yeah, just watching those two, it was kind of painful to kind of see that happen, even though it wasn't so like aggressive or anything like that. It was just painful to see the disconnect in that situation. Anything else when you guys want to add to that situation between the two of them? Yeah, Sean, go for it.
Yeah, no, I'll be interested to see where they go from here. I mean, I think, obviously in the previews we've already seen they're going to try some type of, I guess, intimacy exercise. Perhaps that's now leaning into giving Karla some of the things that she wants from the relationship, some romance. I don't know. I just feel like, is this what are we looking to do here? I guess maybe form a deeper connection, get to know someone's origin stories. But I think it should be customized. I think it should be customized to the couple. I don't know that Juan and Karla needed to know each other's origin stories to build their connection. I wish that I wanted to see something else, because seeing this, it was nice. It wasn't a bad moment, like you said, Koji. It wasn't like, one person showed, a level of disrespect or distaste to another. But I wish that they would have customized something more to help each other to grow. Because I don't think they grew from this. I think it was just like a to-do, and they both did it, and now we move on. And then they went to see Karla's family, So that's my thoughts.
Anything else, Alcid? I hear that. All right, cool. Let's move on then, because obviously another spectacular moments was David and Michelle. Where David obviously told some lies about what he was doing at 9:35 p.m. He done sent a wrong text to the wife and sent, I don't know. It could be that he made a mistake. It could be that he didn't make a mistake. Either way, it was a shambles. You know what I'm saying to you? So I want to know your thoughts on this David lie, and what you thought about it. Maybe you thought he did it on purpose. Maybe you think he didn't do it on purpose. What's your thoughts? What I'm saying to you? I know this is Sean's favorite because that's his basement dweller friend. Sean, I'll let you jump in first. What's your thoughts on this David and Michelle situation?
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. I think that although, I want to preface this, that it's not like he had much to hold on to with Michelle. I still think that your character should always reign true. And if at the end of the day, he, felt like this was a nowhere situation, then just say it like it is. And lastly, if you're gonna lie, at least make it a good lie. I just feel like the lie was ridiculous. I felt like I was watching, or listening to the, there's a DMX song, it was Keisha and Pam. It's like, what he starts throwing out the names of all these women on Tinder. It's like, bro, this is bad. You just look like really like a doofus. He looked like a doofus, he could have just owned it. And I just felt like he missed the mark. He missed the bar. And you just actually teed it up for Michelle to look like the victim, or, almost look like the victim, because everybody was rooting for you. So there you go.
Why give her the truth? She don't care about that man. She don't care about that man. Why give her the truth? She don't care. What Michelle wanted was a moment to make David look like a fool, because she showed her entire derriere from since the wedding. I'm sorry. I wouldn't even give her a half good lie. I'm sorry. Yeah, whatever. I would have the same attitude, David. You don't want me. Don't act like you want me and you want any kind of truth from me. Get out my face with that. We here not to be fined. I'm sorry. this whole, being the jilted wife story, go sell it to somebody else. We don't care. We said this a couple episodes ago. Even if David went out there and did something diabolical, we would still side with him because of her behavior towards him before. So I am not, yeah, it's a stupid lie. Yeah, it's a kindergartner could have come up with a better excuse lie. But don't give me like you're slighted and oh, you're lying. Girl, please get out of my face with that. You didn't want to be around the man. You felt smothered. Guess what? You were the wrong M he wanted to send the message to, okay? Michelle, Madison, alphabetically, they're right next to each other. So just let it go. And then the preview calling the cousin to verify the story, oh my gosh, girl, you're going way too far to try and justify your behavior in this thing. I'm sorry, Michelle could go kick rocks and whatever story he decided to tell her, he could have told her nothing, told her a sob story, whatever. I have no sympathy for her. Yes, he lied. Yes, he's a cave dweller. But you know what? He is just like Juan, biding his time for the 8 weeks, and let's be out of here. Don't act like you care.
Definitely hear that. Trey, what are you telling me? We're talking about David, Michelle. The lies, the lies, the lies. What's up? Michelle got Trey too. He gonna lie that he was also at work.
Got me bad.
What are you telling me, Trey?
You know how to cook. She knows all about the cook. So listen, I don't know if y'all can hear me, but Elsa said it. We said it weeks ago. Who cares? No one. Now, the most interesting thing about this is the specific lie David decided to tell. That's what concerned and surprised me. He was very truthful about the other women he was talking to. But whoever that was on that particular text message, he protected. He just didn't lie for it. And you can tell he's not used to lying. It's not his forte. He's a little too honest for it because he can't even come up with a good one on the spot. He specifically protected whoever that was on the other side of that text message. And I'm wondering who that was. You know, another panelist said it last week who, might be, but just find out. He was very honest about everything else. Yeah, I'm talking to Keisha, Bisha, Boo Boo, all of them. But whoever that was, he kept that to the chest. Interesting. Now, just for Michelle's sake, I'll be nice. In most cases, I am one of principle. You guys are married, I get it, I understand, but I'm sorry, like, you don't want this man, so why do you care? It doesn't matter to you. The big deal about it, just to look good, whatever. You wasn't mad that he was talking chicks. Was into
Trey,
it.
We're losing you, Trey, bro. We're losing you. The signal keeps cutting. It's hard to hear you. Can't even lie to you. Try do it without the camera and see if that will just allow you just to talk freely. You can't hear me? Oh, I think
I can hear you.
Try and see if that will work. Okay, try and talk for a few minutes just to see if it works. If not, you may not be able to go for it.
Nah, I think it's my area. It's pretty. I'm in the woods. I'm lost woods back here, so
Yeah, your sound's still doing choppiness, bro. You are with the wolves, and the wolves have got you. I'm gonna have to, you're gonna have to drive to. Yeah, you're cutting out, bro. I can't even lie to you. We have to cut you loose a little bit, bro, because it's a struggle right here, and I can't lie to you. It's a struggle to get through. Okay, we be having 1 or 2 points in it. It just take you away. You know what I mean? Elsa, talk to me. This situation, obviously, with situation with David and Michelle, and we know that obviously we said this last time. We said that the lies that he's gonna tell, we still ain't gonna care about Michelle because Michelle's treated him so badly the whole entire time. Is that still the truth? Is that still how we feel about the situation?
That's how I feel. We're here not to get fined. We're here not to get fined. That's all. I'm sorry. The good thing about David is he doesn't know how to lie very well. That's the good thing. The bad thing is that he chose to lie knowing that he ain't good at it. He didn't even think of a lie. He thought, David thought that since he retreated or retrieved the text, he deleted it, that it would go away. Sorry. Okay, if she got it, okay, I'm gonna need you though, David, to not send those texts, to the wrong person. You need to look and verify. But at least we know that he's willing to eat and eat well. Okay, at least the ladies know that. But he chose the wrong M to send it to, because we all think he's sending it to Madison instead of Michelle. But at this point, I wouldn't have even had Michelle's phone number in my phone with the way she was behaving. But he shouldn't have lied. Yeah, whatever. But she don't want him. This ain't no real marriage. He just being polite, being nice. And the thing with the family, yeah. Why did she come on Married at First Sight if it takes her forever to warm up? She didn't even warm up to her roommate for a whole semester at college. So if you need at least 3 months to warm up to a friend, why are you here to marry someone and you don't thaw for months? It's 8 weeks. She should not have done this. She shouldn't have done this for her reasons, and he shouldn't have done this for his reasons. But that whole family thing is like, they're like, you're not seeing the Michelle we know. Okay, well, what is the Michelle you know? Because the Michelle we know, sorry. And even at the after party, I was not even forgiving of her. I was like, girl, you did not need Married at First Sight. You need to stay home, because you could get anything, any kind of groom or bride on Married at First Sight. If you ain't ready for it, if you're not ready to open yourself up to it, then you don't need to be here, and you don't need to be mean and rude and nasty about it. That's the problem. We saw the mean, nasty, rude Michelle. She treated him like the throwaway lunch ticket she didn't want. And now she wants to make him look bad to us because he lied. Okay. Don't care.
I guess I have a little bit of pushback for that. And look, as far as roommates go, I didn't warm up to my roommate until we stopped being roommates. So I'm sorry, I think that's also a forced situation. So it sometimes it takes a little while. You don't know the person, you're sharing space with somebody, you're just meeting. Yeah, so that part. But the other thing I think is, at the end of the day, it's about your morals and your character. And that's what I think. I think there's if you're not a liar, there's not somebody that should make you lie. If you're not somebody that's dishonest, then there shouldn't be a person that makes you dishonest. You get what I'm saying? So if you're not already somebody that's accustomed to lying, then I'm not going to let the way somebody treats me force me to be a dishonest person. So if he's somebody that's forthright, that's somebody that's mature, that's somebody that's ready for marriage, if the situation ain't working in his favor, then you do the necessary things to advocate for yourself. This ain't Love Island where you run around and swap partners. You are supposed to be married to one person. And if it's not working out, let that person know, hey, listen, This ain't going nowhere. Let's just be roommates, pretty much is what we're doing already. I'm going to do me, you could do you. And the other part is, and this is the part that really gets me, is Alan deserves better, because you're looking at somebody else. That's a level of duplicity when you not only are just carrying on some level of cheating. I don't know how far it's gotten at this point, but you are cheating with someone and you are looking at their husband in his face. They had dinner plans, according to, you know, the text message that this all came out. That's why, you know, whatever his reasoning, but there was some text messages going around. So that part I can't get down with. And that speaks to me about David's character. And I think David also has a way of putting 10 on 2, the way he's been trying to puff up that basement and tell us all the things that he has and all the things that he's going to do and all the promotions that he's going to get. Yeah, this just shows me you have a propensity to stretch the truth, to lie, to manipulate, to get what you want. So I just don't have a lot of credence in anything that he says going forward.
Why tell the truth now when telling you I live in a basement crashed you out of the wedding?
Again, why, if I'm somebody that's honest, what you do to me, it doesn't change my character. You get what I'm saying? So if I'm an honest person, I'm going to be an honest person.
I mean, listen, I agree with you, Sean. I definitely hear that. It does bring up questions about integrity, and about making correct choices, about doing the right thing, you know, as well. So I definitely hear that. You know, I'm not going to fight that particular point, as well. I do feel like, obviously, you know, Madison has treated him badly, but it doesn't mean that you should go out there and do madness. You should quit first, or at least have been divorced when they did that. I understand that, or at least communicate with old girl and say, listen, this process is still going on, but I don't give a heck. I'm out of this situation. I'm gonna move on. You know what I mean? So I definitely understand that as well. You know, in that respect. But I think there's also an understanding here that in this situation, you know, he was under the cosh for a few weeks. Doesn't actually give him a pass. I'm just saying that he was underneath the cosh for a few weeks. You know, being treated ill-treated with somebody who you barely know. So you don't actually have the emotional baseline that you do normally with a partner. That's the only reason why I would actually say that is a little bit of grace. But I still understand what you're saying about the integrity part. He still should go through the whole process, you know, as well in that particular aspect. But I hear that particular aspect as well. I do. Siwe, if you're there.
Hey, what we talking about?
David and Michelle.
I heard y'all talking about a particular thing. Are we talking about his line or how bad his line was?
Yes. I mean, you can talk about how bad it was as well, yeah.
Or what I think about his line?
We can talk about just David in general. What your thoughts were with him and Michelle.
Okay. Yeah, well, his back was against the wall with the situation. And I was really spinning my wheels trying to figure out a better lie for him. And every better lie that I came up with was all bad. So I can't even say that his particular lie was bad, because every other scenario I tried to come up with to get him out that jam was equally as bad. So I don't really know if the lie that he came up with was any worse than any other lie he could have came up with, because he was kind of a back against the wall with that lie. I don't know. He shouldn't have used his cousin. What I will say is that I hope this for all the women who were letting their inner pick me that I think they have suppressed come out when they was caping for David and acting like Michelle was such a bully. I really hope that this is a reminder that everything is not always what it seems. And there's if something looks off, it probably is off. And that most men ain't sitting around twiddling their thumbs praying for a good day. They're probably out there doing somebody else. So I hope this is just, this is the people who let, that inner pick me that they don't let come out that much. I hope this was just their gentle reminder that most of these dudes are not super victims. And as Jay just said, that two things can be true at the same time. I don't know if that's what Jay meant by it, but I'm saying that two things can be true at the same time. Michelle can be insufferable, and David can also not be a victim. Michelle could be a bully, and David also could be up to his own tricks. There's always a lot of stuff going on at the same time. I do think Michelle's only mad though because her ego is hurt. Her ego is hurt right now because she really thought that man was sitting around twiddling his thumbs, all to find out that he was twiddling somewhere else. So she's mad. Yeah. But I don't know what Sean was saying. I think he was just talking about how you do one thing is how you do everything. And honestly, my problem with David is that I would have respected David more if he wouldn't have been pretending that he was a long sufferer and kind of just let Michelle know, like, you cutting up, you're treating me like crap, and I'm good off of you, I'm gonna do me. I would have respected that. To me, I'm gonna always have trust issues with somebody like David because he's willing to portray to the public and to all the people who wanted to let their inner pick me show to get their cape in and get their capes out for him, all while he's out doing something else. I just feel like you can't fully be trusted for doing that. Forget the cheating, it's the misleading. Cheat, whatever. He's not just cheating, he's acting like he's like a victim. That's what's more concerning to me than who he texting. That's the character issue for me. So yeah, I'll land it there. Let somebody bounce off of that, but that's my issue.
I don't think he actually played a victim. That's the part I don't get. I don't think he played a victim. At no point did he say he was playing a victim. Like, he just said he wanted to get to know her a bit more. That was all. You don't see him crying. You don't see him crying or anything. He's only made complaints saying, "Listen, I was trying to get to know you more. I want to text you a bit more to get to know you. I want to take you out to get to know you a bit more. I've opened myself up. I've taken you to sushi." I don't think he actually necessarily played a victim. What I would agree though that there is an aspect of like the integrity aspect, right? Because you sign up to the show, you sign up to marriage, and that respect, and so I definitely understand that particular point about the integrity part, and that's something he has to work out. Obviously, it's not a good foundation to start a relationship in any format. Hopefully they do the actual work as well, because they both got traumas that they need to work through anyway when it comes to Madison and to David. So hopefully they actually work it through. But I don't know. I don't know if we would say that he's playing a victim, as well. And if we're saying two truths can be true, I think three things can be true in the sense of that he might have actually been trying at the very beginning, and then started realizing actually this is not working as well, and let me open myself up a little bit. Now, should he have communicated that? Yes. Again, that comes back to that integrity aspect as well, right? Where we say that this is what we call monkey branching. He's monkey branching, so he hasn't actually left the relationship, but he's actually branched off into somebody else as well. So, I do think he tried at the very beginning. I do think he tried to be more open. Did he try to be more understanding of the situation? Absolutely, he probably did. You know what I'm saying to you? What I would say that he has to work on though is he didn't actually tell her the full truth about maybe. No, I wouldn't say the full truth, but I think he could have been a bit more staunch in his position in terms of the fact that the mistreatment was going on, right? Now, of course, we know he does mention it because obviously it gets to the experts. The experts talk about it as well. As well. So I definitely understand that. So there could have been a bit more of a stauncher response in terms of her mistreatment of him to let her know that he doesn't accept that and doesn't like that. I think that there definitely is something he has to work on as well. But I don't know I don't know personally myself, maybe it's just me, my angle. I didn't see him necessarily play the victim as such, but I'm not going to say that I don't see it, but I'm just saying for me personally, I didn't see it for me to see that way, but I can understand how you got to that point as well.
I think it's what Rose Common said, that he was simping, which is victim adjacent. I'm not going to come out there and say that he was fully like, woe is me, but he definitely was playing the part as he was all in and just waiting for Michelle to come around, which is the misleading part, because you're not all in if you got your foot somewhere else. I do think though that the audience was more victimizing him than he was. I do want to be clear about that. I think the audience was placing him in a more damsel in distress role than he necessarily put himself in. But I do think that he was trying to act like he was all in. And I do think at some point he was. But he quickly realized that it wasn't going to work out. He slipped and fell somewhere else. And he was cool there. But we never saw that kind of change. And that's where you start looking like you're being deceiving. So
Michelle was deceiving too in this. I'm sorry. I just saw this as a complete deflection because Michelle didn't want to do the assignment. She didn't want to do it. The experts gave them. She didn't want to have to state her, poor upbringing again. She did it last week with Dr. Pepper. She didn't want to have to go through that. She don't want to talk to David about who she is. She didn't want to do the assignment. So here this comes up that happened off camera. So I could say you're lying and walk off and I don't have to do it. And I can make you look bad since probably in her head, he made her look bad the entire beginning for all of this. She didn't do the assignment.
Yeah, I don't know about that because she wound up taking him to see her parents and her family rather. So she didn't necessarily skip out on a significant part of intimacy. She could have just said, listen, I'm not taking you to see to see my family after this text message, but she chose to move forward with that. I think the other part of this is we now are seeing shortly after the 1 month mark, David getting caught with this text message. But how long has this been going on? So how really long suffering has David been? So we want to say he's a martyr and say that he deserved to, get a little cheat because of the way Michelle has been treating him. And I'm not going to try to spin it to say she's been nice to him or been kind. She has not. However, how really long suffering has he been? Because usually by the time somebody gets caught, there's something it didn't just start. He's already comfortable enough to tell allegedly Madison, right? We only can say allegedly because we really don't know 100% yet. But at this point, it's allegedly Madison or some other person. You look so good, I'm ready to eat you up. That don't look like that's a text message string that just started two seconds ago. That means this has been ongoing. They've only theoretically been together for a month. So you're telling me you enter into a marriage and it's going really unwell. And within a month, we're sanctioning somebody stepping out and starting a relationship with somebody else on the side. You get what I mean? Like, I just think how really long suffering is he? So was he going through this for 2 weeks? So it was 2 weeks of hell. And now he's like, all right, I'm moving on to Madison, somebody else, allegedly Madison, I'll say, somebody else's spouse, if it's her. Yeah, I just think, I'm not ready to give him that much grace. I'm not ready to give him that much grace and that much wiggle room to just go ahead and kick up dust outside in the streets when you committed to a process to be married to somebody that you didn't know. And the likelihood of you not getting along with them or them not getting along with you is very high.
Why do we need to be long suffering? Why do we need, we talk about we don't want struggle love and all that stuff. Why do we need to be long suffering? This woman had told you in many ways at the honeymoon, I don't want you. I don't want you around me. You're smothering me. I don't even want you to possibly move in with me. Why do we need to be strong, long suffering? She has said in more than enough words, she don't want to be married to him. So we're going through the motions. Okay, we're going through the motions. This is not a marriage that's going to last past 8 weeks. She cannot stand this man. If this was something that it was a marriage that I think could last or had any chance as a fly's fart in the wind, sure, but not this. They're just being here not to be fine. That's it. This is not a marriage that's going to last. So this long suffering, how long have you suffered to justify this behavior? No, she doesn't want him. He don't want her. He paving the way for when we are done with this. I got someplace to go.
So are you, El Cid, Miss, if you cheat on me 10 years ago, I'm going to be bringing it up for the next decade and two? Are we justifying the lying or what are we doing?
No, they are done. They are both done.
Did he tell her
with
that?
each other.
Did he tell her that?
She did not tell her that. She has told him that many a time.
But did he tell her that?
He didn't tell her that.
So that
But
makes him
she
wrong,
has told him that many a time.
So, but he didn't tell her that though.
He didn't tell her that.
What he tell her?
We have a finite 8 weeks. She has told him within what, 3 days.
But what did he tell her though, Elsie? What did he tell her?
He didn't. He has been, as Sean said, long suffering. He has been playing the nice guy. Playing.
So lying.
Exactly.
So lying
he
is
does
okay?
not wish to be fined.
Okay, y'all. So Elsie is saying lying is okay, so he can get that check. That's what I'm taking away from the conversation.
Get the check and move on. Get the check and move on.
Okay. Well, as long as we're on the same page.
This is not a real marriage. Anyone who thinks this is a real marriage, I gotta question them.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think obviously lying in general is no. I don't want to cape for anybody lying, right? So of course I don't know how long this has been going on for between David and Madison. I can't say that. We have to wait till we wait to see what happens at the end. Now but again, what I would say is obviously the reason again I said again about how we're gonna feel about it. That doesn't mean it's right? So how I'm gonna feel about it is I'm still gonna be like, well, Michelle was mistreating him. Now even if he was cheating from the very first day, Michelle didn't know he was cheating from the very first day. So her behavior is irrespective of whether he cheated or not. Do you see what I'm saying to you? So I still hold her to the same position because she was still mistreating him from the very beginning. Like, unless she's going to come out and literally say, I knew he was cheating from the very beginning, which she has never let us know from the show, that she had any hints of him not being faithful, then her behavior is still exactly the same. She was still mistreating him. You know what I'm saying to you? So that's why I said, like, I'm still going to feel like, you know what, I understand why you did it, bro. You know what I mean? That doesn't make it right. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be like, oh, it's absolutely right what you did. I'm just going to say that I understand why this happened. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, so Michelle doesn't get a pass. You know what I'm saying to you? Because this whole entire time, Michelle has let us know and let him know and let the experts know that she is not going to give David anything. When he explained what he wanted, to explain about finances, all that kind of stuff and all that stuff, she still didn't want to have it. And that's fine. That's fine. You know what I'm saying to you? Now, my thing is this. Don't act like you care now. Because you don't. You don't care now. So she's also manipulative and also playing a game as well too. She knows what she's doing. You know you don't. None of us can sit here and be honest and be like, we actually believe that she cares about the fact that he lied about it. She don't care. You know what I'm saying to you? She's also fighting for the narrative right now, which I understand. She wants to also make it like, well, hold on a minute. I don't want to be the bad guy in this situation. He's been cheating on me. Well, baby, I need you to get rid of that because you didn't care about the man. Don't switch now. You know what I'm saying to you? Don't switch now. The damage is done. I guess I'm leaving, as Justin Timberlake would say. You know what I mean?
I just think for me, I'm gonna call myself Queen Nuance because I think nuance be missed a lot of times in these conversations. I'm gonna speak for most of us. We don't really give a F that David stepped out. I don't think we care about that. Honestly, no one really feels bad for Michelle either. And we don't even think Michelle feels bad about it. We think Michelle just has a broken ego. I think that is probably a general consensus that everybody can get with. My thing is that when he stepped out, he should have just said it with his chest. The lying and the pretending that you are all in when you're all out is where that gets me. Because to Elsie's point, he could have stayed on the show and got a check and said it with his chest. You think Mass would have went with this storyline? That he's creeping with Madison? They could have still been on the show. You just have to film. Nobody says you got to stay in this relationship. I would have respected if he stopped playing all them games. Personally, I don't care that he stepped out on Michelle. Michelle did not treat him bad because she thought he was cheating. Michelle treated him bad because she thinks he's below her and she doesn't like him. That's why. So that's my thing. I can respect the stepping out. Maybe that's toxic. What I can't respect is the lying. I don't like the lying, and I don't like the pretending that you're something that you're not. That's what's bothering me. Just to be clear.
Go Go for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there, and I think I'm more lasering into who David is, because this is Married at First Sight. So the people that should come on here are people that are preparing themselves or should be prepared for marriage. So just like we broke down Juan's breakdown and the lack of emotional connectivity that we saw between him and Karla, and some of his issues we're seeing, we're going to look at this with a greater lens, because yes, on the surface, are we kind of happy that David got a little something on the side because he was getting negative energy from Michelle? Okay, I can relate to that. But if we take it the next step further, and this show is Married at First Sight, and these are people that are supposed to be prepared for marriage, when you go into a marriage, it's not always going to be good. There's going to be periods and times when you struggle. How you handle that struggle, in my perspective, shows me your character. And when he was also when the lie was uncovered, because we gonna lie, it happens, people lie, I lied, I've lied, you know what I'm saying? How do you handle it when you cover, when it's brought to your attention? He doubled down, made up more lies, then got a little gaslighting and was like, well, we didn't have any definition. When she was like, this still doesn't feel right to me. And she was like, well, see, that's what happens when you don't get definition. That shows me who you are. That shows me who you are, how you handle things. What is your method of conflict resolution? If your method of conflict resolution is to try to spin it back, that shows me you don't have the proper tools to handle a marriage. You start trying to push things back in the other person's face instead of take some accountability. Hey, listen. Yes, it's wrong for me to send that text to somebody else, but I was feeling like fill in the blanks. I really don't think you wanted me, Michelle. I really didn't feel like this was going anywhere. You barely tolerate me. So was it wrong? Yes, but this is why I did it. Stand in your truth. Be a man. You know what I mean? Like, be a man.
That would have ate too. That would have ate down.
Like, say it for what it is. Finally say if that's what led you to it. If that's why you're there, because we want to fill in the blanks and say, well, he deserved it, this is why he is able to do it, then stand in your truth. Sometimes you got to be bold with yours. If somebody's calling you out and your back is up against the wall, hey, look, might not have been the best thing to do, but I felt like I didn't have much options. I needed some attention. I'm used to getting attention from women, and I'm not getting it from the woman that I was supposed to be married with. I'm sorry. Tell me if I'm honest. Watch them cameras would have cut. The cameras would have cut, because that would have been calling her out, and also him owning his stuff and not being down this liar rabbit hole and making up all these other nonsensical stories.
It wouldn't have looked good for him, Sean. That's all well and good to say, but considering it's maths, they're only together for 8 weeks. It would not have translated well. We could say that but that wouldn't have translated well for him at all. He would have been completely vilified, more so than this. But I understand what you're saying, but this ain't a real marriage. I'm sorry, they are married. This ain't a marriage.
Then Elsa, can you answer me this then? Why does, I guess, let's say you're right and Sean is wrong, that would have came over.
Sean could be right.
Let's say for the sake of this conversation that it would have went over bad, and that he still needed to lie because this is a woman audience. What I'm saying though still stands. If he would have acted like Juan, not Ikechi, right? He doesn't have to act crazy. But like Juan, you know how he just is like, being respectful, but not pretending that he's all in. I would have been cool with it. It's the pretending that every day you wake up, you're fighting for this relationship that makes this the most diabolical for me. He be really acting like he's all in. He should just act like Juan. Why not? What's stopping him from doing that? And you still get your check.
He will get a bad. I'm sorry. It has not worked out with a man being blatantly honest that, yeah, I've cheated on you. Yeah, this ain't working. No,
I said scratch that. Let's say he keeps the lie going. Forget it. He keeps the lie going.
there are others keeping the lie going that this is a real marriage and a real thing. There are other couples or other individuals coupled up that are lying in our face.
Who are you talking about?
While we vilifying David with his lie, rightly so, we're acting like he's the only pretender on our screen.
Who else you talking about?
My golly, Madison is pretending. Daggone sure. The other one right now in this episode, Emem is pretending. We're acting like people don't come on maps pretending that they're really cool and this is going to be more than it is after 8 weeks.
How's MM pretending? How did you get there?
Man, that was a performance this episode. I'm sorry, Sean. MM gave me a performance.
I guess we'll
this
have
episode.
to get there because that's going to be
when we get there.
To unpack.
Oh heck yeah! Oh heck yeah! She gave a stage-worthy performance.
I mean, I just push back on that because when have we seen in reality TV, and I see Easton piping in the comments, when have we seen in reality TV a guy cheating about, lying about cheating and it works out well for him? So this is what I want to understand because everybody's got all this evidence of what ain't going to work. When have we seen a guy that has lied and cheated on a reality TV show and it's worked out for his benefit? And
when have we seen him be honest and it works out for his benefit?
Exactly, because they don't do it. And they should be. Exactly.
I feel like Chris was honest when he said he didn't like Paige face and he was persecuted, but
exactly.
That's the closest thing.
Exactly.
But again, and we moved, but he still kept going back to her and torturing her. That was the problem that people had. I mean, yes, people are going to have an outcry when somebody is not attracted to a woman, especially, with the colorism of it all. So people are going to get upset, but there's also layers to it. And people were less upset about Chris being, unattracted to Paige versus the way he played with her and toyed with her. That's what really got people pissed off with him. And then the gaslighting, which again, David's starting to get on that line of gaslighting and then trying to pretend and, say things for what it's not. When you start pissing on people's leg and telling them it's rain, you're always going to get people's outrage. So don't encourage anybody to lie because that's going to help your public perception. Yeah, no, a liar is always going to be exposed and not liked.
Y'all forget the Chris example because y'all gonna go in. Pretend I didn't say it, please. I'll take it back.
It was just a bad lie. You know what I mean?
I'm with you, C-Way. I got your back.
Forget, take it back. I never said it.
It should have been a cleaner lie. You know what I mean? He might have got away with it more if he was a better lie. Do you know what I mean? If you just said, "Listen, hey, look, I meant to text you," and left it at that. We would be having this conversation the way we're probably having it. You know what I mean?
He should have had that drunk texting.
That's what I'm trying to say. And he should have said, "I'm jet texting you. I'm trying to see what is up."
That's that
You know
song.
what I'm saying to you? Yeah, you know what I mean? It's 2:00 in the morning, but you know what I mean? But I mean, listen, look, I definitely hear what you're saying. You guys are fighting for the integrity and how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I do understand that part. He doesn't get the right. He's not right for just because he got mistreated to step out the relationship without at least having a conversation with Michelle first and letting her know that he's no longer involved in this marriage. So I'm not disagreeing that at all. I agree with that particular perspective as well. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna fight you on that part. I think everybody's lying though. So I think Michelle, going off like she wants to know exactly what was in that text. Baby, come on, you don't want that man. I never wanted that man. Do you know what I'm saying to you? How long have you not wanted that man from the very beginning? So, you know what I mean? Like, let's not act like we care now. You know what I'm saying to you? And look, I'm not saying that David was forever long trying to make it work. Look, I'm sure that it probably might have been a week or two before he clocked it and probably started talking to Madison. And maybe Madison was open because it wasn't working in her marriage, right? It could have been a long, there could have been some, probably might have been a little bit early as well in that situation too. Having said that, 1 week, 2 weeks is actually very different to it is outside because they actually spend all day with each other the first 2 weeks, don't they? When they're on a honeymoon and stuff. So they actually get a little bit more time. But yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I do think that he should have been honest and open about it, or at least come on. I mean, personally, I'm gonna say if you're gonna lie, you could have come up with a better lie. You had time. No, I'm just sorry. You had the whole morning, the whole night to think of a lie, and that's what you come up with? Yeah, that was bad. Yes, Sean.
Yeah, listen, there's another, maybe a little subtle nuance that I think too. I think there is a part of him, whether it was like right there or in his subconscious, that wanted to be caught and wanted this to be exposed, because he could have very easily, this was another lie. He could have been like, and you alluded to it earlier, right? He could have been like, listen, I've been watching you and you look so good, and this was for you. And that would have propped Michelle's ego up. And because I think there was also a part of her that maybe wanted it to be for her. Not that she wanted to do anything with David, but maybe wanted to be like, oh, so he's finally seeing all the sexy that I'm bringing. I ain't gonna give it to him, but I wanted to, like, he didn't navigate the situation. And I think there was a part of him that was tired of being in the corners with allegedly Madison, right? Because I think he done found his real white queen, because he found another. If it's Madison,
not if, we know it is.
I mean, listen, we gonna go from the show, what the show is showing us, and then the little bit of evidence that we know, right? So I'm just gonna say if. You can say it is, but I'm gonna say if. Just roll with me a little bit. Let me have my little moment.
I'm sorry. Let me say, look.
Let me have my little bit.
My masculinity showing. Let me go on mute.
Just give me something. Give me something. But he could have easily played it, but he wanted his white queen, and guess what? He found his blonde white queen, and now he's happy, because that's what he was very specific about him wanting from the maths process, and he's walked out with that, allegedly. So I just feel like David just messed up on a lot of fronts, but also wanted to be loud and proud and kind of start to get the ball in motion for the woman that he really knows wants him.
Maybe he was trying to get his lick back, as someone would say. You know what I mean? Like, and I would understand that again. If you feel like you've been mistreated the whole entire time, sometimes people cheat to kind of get a lick back. You know what I mean? Of course, I believe it's more than that, because obviously we've seen them with the evidences. But maybe part of the reason why he lied so bad is maybe it was a lick back. He wanted to inflict some pain a little bit. You know what I'm saying to you? With all that he had suffered the first 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks, however long he's been suffering. So again, doesn't give him a pass. It just talks about the integrity aspect. But maybe that's also part of it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, maybe Michelle wanted a little bit of that, that ego booster of the text being for her. Again, I mean, it just shows how much ego then she would have then. Why would you want the text to be for you when you've been mistreating this man? You know what I'm saying to you? Like you and when I say mistreat, like you've made little comments here and there. You tried to spruce him up. You've tried everything to make him into a spicy chicken when really he's just pork on a stick for you. Yeah, I mean, listen, no matter what you do, dress up that pork, it's still gonna be pork. It ain't gonna be a chicken. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, so but I definitely understand what you're saying. Like, he could have done better in terms of just telling the truth. He could have, I mean, I think he could have came up with a better lie, to be honest, and they would have dealt with this issue towards the end of the show. But his lie opened up the conversation for them to question, who is it? That's my only issue with him, is that the lie was so bad, we now have to ask, who is it? Rather than actually being, do you know what? It would have been like, oh, I was a drunk text, it was you. This might have come out at the very end. Now we got to come out now. Now we got to ask some real questions. So I would say that as well.
You know what else is the biggest takeaway that we're missing? Y'all got to stop messing with people who ain't got iPhones and ain't got updated iPhones. Because if you had an iPhone, if this was an iPhone to iPhone issue, you could have pressed that unsend. But if you messing with them green bubbles and you dealing with people with them green bubbles, then you going to be in that jam. Because when that message go through, ain't no unsend. So if you take anything away from this, make sure you have your updated iPhone. Make sure it's up to date. Make sure you ain't texting nobody with no green bubbles, and you good. That would have fixed this whole situation.
If he would have caught it before she saw it.
Now we Android folks catching strays. Woo.
Don't get Jay going. But listen, if the unsend only works if the person didn't see it, right? So David was not looking to be the keenest with all of this. So his recall button didn't look like it was that strong.
Just trying to help y'all out in case y'all get in this situation. That's all I can really say. Look, High Vibe said he can afford an iPhone. Now look, y'all gonna get me in trouble. I didn't say that. It could have been Michelle with the Android. Look, she the one on her way up, moving on up.
Nah, Michelle ain't got no Android. You know, she don't look like an Android person.
They both got an iPhone. If you look at it, they both have an iPhone.
They both got an iPhone. That's even sillier. Then you should have pressed that unsend.
Again,
he said he did. He said he did.
But it wasn't before she saw it. That's what I'm saying. Like, unsend only works if the person didn't see it. You know, too late. And Michelle, you know, I'll never shy away from this point. She's been looking for something. You know what I mean? So when somebody is looking for something, they're going to find it. She's been looking for evidence of something. And now this is her way, because she's also acknowledged it and even said it out loud that she feels like she's been a bad person. You know, she definitely is very cognizant of that. So I'm sure she's like, oh, see this text? What's this text? What? Oh, really? You want to eat me up? Let's see how this goes. Then he want to talk about it's his cousin and food. What?
And then
that was nasty work. That was nasty work.
All the other women from the Tinder. And why are we still on Tinder? This man didn't say Bumble. This man didn't say Hinge. He said Tinder.
Hey, Tinder is for whom? It's for whom? You got to understand his target audience. So that's where his target audience is in Tinder.
That's where they at?
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly where they are.
Well,
I don't know. When I bump into him again, y'all let me know what questions y'all got, because I'm gonna have to ask him. Why the F?
No, he gonna run from you if he sees you again.
After he watches this live, he gonna be like,
I didn't look.
Like,
I didn't.
You made guest appearances on the Maps fan page. He's like, no, I'm good.
They was trying to get exclusives. I didn't give it to them. I just said, look, you can check out Little Black Book. That's all I got to give.
You know, he gonna tilt his side ponytail to you, right to his.
Oh no, I'm not an op. It gets more oppish. I was trying to keep it cute, so.
It's crazy.
Right,
let's move on to then Ikechi and obviously Emem, because their situation, obviously, this episode, they said they're gonna make them come back together and live in the same house. Ikechi decided that he ain't gonna live in the same house, and he said he don't feel safe, he don't feel at peace, and then he walked right around the island counter and started speaking from back of the room, basically, towards Emem. You know, at this point, I don't know why he's even doing the show. It sounds like the way he's behaving, he's moving like at nighttime something happens to him, between him and Emem. Like Emem going to try and touch him or something. Like, excuse my language of that. But it's like he's acting as if like he's physically in danger. You know what I'm saying? And if that's the case, I need you to leave. Let's stop this madness, because it's getting to a point where it's like, I'm getting sick of it. You know what I'm saying? Now, if Emem had cheated, I'd have been backing her too. You know what I'm saying? But fair play to her. But what are you guys' thoughts on the Emem and Ikechi situation? Because at this point, Emem is smiling to us, and I know she don't want to be there. I know at that point when she sat in a chair and leaned back, and she's like, you know, at this point he no longer my husband, and you know, I'm gonna let him do what other men do, which is chase me. I was like, sis, if that was the case, you should have let him chase you from the very beginning. You didn't even do that. But anyway, what's your guys' thoughts on the situation?
Why was he flirting with the friend down there to the boxing ring? To the boxing. Why was he doing that?
I didn't see him flirting.
You didn't see him flirting? You missed that part? Talk about
maybe I was 1.5 speeds.
Ooh, I'm excited to hit this bag. Ooh, you didn't see that?
Are you not excited to hit the bag?
Don't let her do
Are you not excited to hit the bag? I'm excited to hit the bag.
No, you gotta see the way he was definitely flirting with that bag and that man. Okay, anyway, I'll say this. I'll move on, because he definitely was. Ikechi was trying to get a rise out of Emem, and he was about to crash out for the mere fact that he couldn't even get one. as Elsie did correctly say, Emem's been playing a game for a little bit now. She ain't taking that man seriously. She came to that couch sitting pretty, looking good, looking unbothered. And her only goal was to let Ikechi crash out on his own. But both of them survived the test. Neither one crashed out. Both of them were probably annoyed that neither one crashed out. And they have to live to fight another day. That's all this was. This was the battle of who was going to crash out first. Neither one crashed out, so I guess a win is a win or an L is a L, however you look at it. Sorry, I'm going to have to mute these people. But yeah, that's all that was. I'll let y'all go because I got to find the do not disturb for my phone. Go ahead.
Go on, guys. What's your thoughts on this? Shout out to Kisha. She says Emem played it real cool, and I love that for her. That's right. She did play it cool, and I appreciate that. Can't lie to you. You know, I think Siway's spot on. I think she played it cool. I think Ikechi also trying to play it cool. You know, I think now we're playing chess. So now it's a game of chess. For the next few weeks, it's going to be a game of chess. I think obviously Ikechi kind of started it a little bit for me personally, from what we can see so far. Ikechi started it. I think Emem's like, okay, fine, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to show you how unbothered I am, and I'm going to get you piped up. I'm going to let them see that you're the one that gets riled up. I'm going to let them see that you're aggressive. I'm going to let them see, she put on, I would like to say, the corporate smile. That smile had every Caucasoid energy in it all the way. I mean, she smiled like she was smiling for the directors. Okay, that was not a smile that I've seen as much in the show, but this one definitely was for the corporate smile and letting him know that, listen, since you want to play this game, I'm ready to play the game. Okay, you're going to see me smile and you're going to feel some type of way. What do you say now, Sid?
Emem had this smile on since Dr. Pia. I'm sorry. I saw it when he said that about her to Dr. Pia. She kept it on after that. And even when she said, will you move back in with me? I saw that smile didn't reach her eyes. When he said aggressive, it rubbed her the wrong way at the housewarming. Kept rubbing her the wrong way. But after he said all of that to Dr. Pia, I think she peeped him. But this time, she was like, okay, I'm going to give the people what they want. And even his friend told him exactly what we were saying. How is she supposed to get to know you without questions? Without y'all speaking? How is she supposed to know how you just be without you answering some questions? I mean, we didn't see the rest of the conversation there, but she's hitting these hard-hitting questions. Well, how are you supposed to know her? How are you supposed to know her if you don't ask questions? And she answered, why are you here? Why are you here? Since you wanted to be on the show so much, you applied several times for several cities. You should know by now, y'all need to speak to each other. The basic thing the experts expect you to do with your spouse is speak. That's the basic. So you coming up here talking about she asked too many questions. Well, guess what? You're not even speaking unless she asks you a question. I mean, come on. So my thing with Ike, he got a good dose of his own medicine. He came there expecting Emem to be her usual self, and she flipped it on him. She's like, okay, I am no longer going to contact you unless you contact me. Okay, I'm not going to speak to you unless you speak to me. Even when he spoke, she went, again. Please. The thing I wish to have seen was more conversation, because I think Ike's friend told him exactly what he needed to hear. And I was holding it more to be like, maybe he was the right messenger because that's his friend. Ike has spoken more to that friend than he did to the experts or to anyone else we saw on camera, even when he gets together with the other couples. So again, Ike is just here for the show, to showcase and show out. is not here for a marriage. He is not here to do anything but try and sell his book and maybe his CDs in the parking lot. But other than that, I can't hear for a marriage. And he just needs to go along his merry way, take his backpack and his jeans jacket and go along his merry way. And don't bother Emem. Emem is playing the game at this point. Experts, you need me to be here? I'm going to be here. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. And now I've officially switched up. I'll officially state he ain't my husband, because after these 8 weeks, it is not surprising that I don't want to be around here. And he's acting like she, as you said, like she's going to grab him at any point. If this is the case, and this is serious, you wouldn't be in the same room. I'm sorry. You wouldn't be in the same room no matter what the check is. So he needs to just move it along.
Yeah, I feel like he's insufferable, but I think, I don't want MM to get out of character either. Because she had on that belt, she looked like she had on her gladiator belt when she called him over to that apartment and was ready to tussle. I just don't, and I think, and this happens in relationships, right? When we kind of see somebody for who they are, we want to draw them all the way out. And I just don't want her to expend her energy with him. And I don't want her to, get down to his level. So I'm glad that they stopped that back and forth they had going when they were sitting on the couch, because I think he gets off on that. Like, he gets off on the evasive answers or the word play or the kind of like subtle undercuts and the passive aggressiveness. So I just don't want her to get caught up in that. If you said you're going to give, it's going to be on his pace, it shouldn't even be on his pace. If we're really being honest, I don't think he's giving you anything at this point where you would even want his energy welcomed to you, right? So I just want her to back all the way back. Don't have any expectations. If you got to be in the process, I get it. I understand that. Be in the process, but don't put things out there like, if you do this, then you will get that. He's shown you everything you needed to know. There is nothing more that you need to see from him at this point. So it's like kind of that language. I just want her to just go cold turkey. I hate that we got to say this, but the guy shows a lot of narcissistic traits. And what they say to do for people that are like that is to just, that you go cold turkey, you ice them out, you give them no attention, you don't feed them, you don't give them anything. So I just want her energy from going forward to just be nothing with him. Nothing he says should affect her. If he shows up without his ring, who cares? Who cares? If he picks up his air fryer tomorrow, okay, take it. It's anything else. Would you like a towel? Like it should. I want her to be as unaffected as possible when it comes to him, because anytime she gives him a little bit, he's going to try to pull her in to one of those circular arguments that go nowhere. So that's all I want.
I absolutely hear you. Definitely. Easton, welcome to the conversation, brother. It's good to see you.
What's up, everybody?
What's good, man? What's good? We talking about Easton. We're talking about Easton. We're talking about Emem and talking about obviously Ikechi. Want to get your thoughts on the situation. How are you seeing it, bro?
Really, at this point, just like Sean was saying, I think Emem needs to cancel out Ikechi. Like, I think at some point you have, like, she has the leverage now. People see Ikechi for who he truly is, and now that she has the leverage, she can kind of call the shots. And her not necessarily pulling the plug on this doesn't make me look at her more confidently. Like, I would love to see her just be like, I'm just gonna divest from this relationship, and I can do what he wants to do and let me be free and do whatever he wants to do. Because like you were saying, he does get off on I guess the subtle things, the little jabs where he can kind of connive and control the circumstances and the scenarios with whether it be the relationship, whether it be the friendships that they have with the cast, even the relationships with the therapists and different things like that. I think he likes the fact and feeling that he has control over that, and if he can control the narrative and shift it one way or another, he will do that. And maybe I think it stems from, well, I don't even want to really psychoanalyze him, but I think that for him, maybe the lack of control he may have had as an adolescent makes him want to control every aspect, or maybe even put down his significant other or other women in general. Because I do think that there's a staunch difference between how he talks to Emem and other of the other women casts compared to how he talks to the men, and the level of respect that he showcases. So I'm a little bit, I just wish he would just pack it up, because he is looking really weak, and it's just making it look worse. And Emem, if I could tell her anything, is to pull back completely before she does something, because I feel like she's like one wrong step away from doing something that will not be the most glamorous thing for her and her image, just from a Mavs and a professional standpoint.
Definitely hear that, Easton. Thank you for sharing that. All right, let's move it on, because I think we've worn out Ikechi and Emem, and they've worn each other out. What's your thoughts now, guys, on, and ladies as well, on we've got, who should we go for? Alan and Madison. Obviously, they shared some key information about their upbringing. They spoke whilst fishing. He broke down about how, his parents, their divorce that was ongoing for 14 years. She spoke about how her mother, wasn't really mothering. Again, we're back on this place of the mother wounds and the father wounds, but on both men and women, and how it affects people. So I want to get you guys' perspective on that situation. And what do we glean from their situation now? We heard some of their backstory as well. I want to know if anyone had some thoughts on Yes. Go for it. You open their mic, or someone closed it. Maybe that's what they did. Any thoughts on Madison and Alan? Sure, if you ain't got no thoughts, you can move it on.
For Madison and Alan, I found it very interesting that we didn't meet their families further. They were the one couple that chose to show their experiences as a child with this, softball and the fishing. But it did give us an insight as to Alan, and I wonder if Alan stays in relationships longer than necessary. I wonder if that's what he was taught. He was taught, like, if you want it hard enough, you will fight tooth and nail. And it gives me like I don't know if it's self-awareness. I'm battling with that. Is that self-awareness with Alan, or is he absorbing some kind of guilt? When he talks about, because the mom was fighting for him so much, she wasn't there for the sister. So he's aware of how different things affected everyone in the household, but is he feeling some, sort of guilt? And then not having spoken to his half-sister for so many years, and spoke to him right before the wedding. I'd like to know what caused that separation, because it really affected him not being able to talk to her for a very long time. And you could hear that. I think they did the exercise as best they could. I don't know with Madison. Madison talked to her younger self. I don't know. I mean, it was a good insight to her as well, but I think the same thing like Juan and Karla, I think Alan shared a whole lot more, every step of the way, even though Madison did share a lot about how she grew up and how her household affected her. And now I understand why she's so, structured, going to the gym, the certain friends that she has. Madison seems like she needs a very structured life because of how unstructured it was as a child. But I found it very interesting. We have not met their parents or anything saying that they went to meet each other's parents. And we know Alan's mom was on the show for the wedding, and her dad was there at the breakfast telling him he ain't good looking enough for his daughter. So that, why didn't we do anything further is beyond me. But I guess they probably had a conversation, say this ain't going nowhere. Why bring our parents into it?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, thank you, Elsa, because you captured a lot of the detail that I kind of just zoomed on by. I am sick of all these activities that they keep doing, all these recreational activities, the fishing, the zip lining, that's going nowhere, but building a friendship, like, and there's no romantic chemistry at all between the two of them. And I think, Madison just uses these opportunities and these activities as ways to avoid getting deeper with Alan in a romantic way. And if it's true that she's, starting to pursue something with David, then I think that's her way. That's how she keeps this roadblock up with him. And to me, it's very performative. It's annoying. It's aggravating because they're making no progress. And all they keep doing is finding a new recreational activity to do. Archery, zip lining, fishing. I'm tired of it. Like, it's boring. Pickleball, tennis, racquetball. Like, how many other things are they going to find to do that don't net anywhere? It's not like they're not netting anywhere. And I think it's just getting frustrating for me watching the two of them, watching him fawn over her, and it's going nowhere. It's not landing anywhere. She's like, oh, she said to him, I just remember her saying to him after the fishing, it was really nice, really nice to see this side of you. It's so bland. Like, there's more chemistry amongst friends. Like, I just really am tired, and I want her to release him and stop playing this game of, there's a chance. So, my thoughts.
Okay. I don't think you should ever be if you're a guy, I don't think a girl, well, let me rephrase it. As a guy, if you've never had anybody who's super attractive or a baddie or anything like that, that first one, you always kind of fumble. You don't know how to operate. You don't know how to talk to them, or you go above and beyond. And definitely that is what Alan is doing in this case, and he has gone over the deep end with it. And it's really sad, but I think it will definitely build character in the long haul. But I think seeing this is going to be a shock to him to have to relive this. And I'm sure week by week, seeing people kind of tear him to shreds about how he acts. At this point, I don't really care about how Madison acts. She's kind of like, I mean, I really don't care for it too much, just because she knows that she doesn't like the guy. She knows that there's nothing he can do for her. And I would much rather her show the maturity to be like, I can't see anything going further with this, and releasing him out to the wild. But for him, he's kind of like, his nose is wide open. He just loves Madison, and it's just going to be the end, or to his demise. But yet, like Sean was saying, the actual, like, all the events, that's really played out. I would much rather them talk and have more like intimate conversations that are much more geared towards the relationship, or even learning more about each themselves, just because it seems like they're talking about their personal lives. But I would love for it to be phrased in a way that it's Madison asking Alan, like, the things that she doesn't like about him, or things that she finds to be worrisome, like maybe presenting that to Alan, and so he can have some type of like interpersonal thoughts about that, because what he's showcasing to her is going to be his demise in a lot of relationships. He's a great guy, but I don't think from the long haul, like, his relationships will be fruitful and be how he intends him to be, because he's going to be kind of like a doormat, and that stems from his childhood. That stems from his parents going and the divorce that's associated. It stems from there being unresolved relationship issues with his sister and even his dad. And I think that there's might be a little bit of a level of like a lack of confidence in an affirmation of his masculinity, whether it be from his dad, because he might not have been always there and super present. And so he was maybe, he seems to me like a kid who was raised on Disney movies. And as a kid who was raised on Disney movies, we learn the hard way before we figure it out. But like I always say, life comes at you when you're young or when you're old or somewhere in between the middle. But yeah, that's my piece on them.
I definitely hear that. Any other thoughts on these two before we move on? All right. Oh,
Can you
you go
hear
for
me?
it. See where.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
we can.
I was just gonna say, I agree with Easton in the way that I wish, instead of sharing, that Madison shared so much about her, which is fine, that we learned a lot about her. But I do think, since both of them are not really, well, Madison's not really into him, it would have been cool if they had more conversations about like personal growth in the relationship sense. And you know, just feedback there, because this isn't going anywhere. Because they seem to be opening up a lot of trauma, a lot of issues, a lot of like deep things that need therapy, especially for Madison. And then no one's providing the therapy. So it just seemed like a whole lot of trauma dumping. And I don't know what we do with all of this trauma dumping behavior. I would have liked to see the conversation pivot, because I feel like this is 3 or 4 episodes in a row where Madison has gotten a chance to kind of trauma dump some of her things and be vulnerable and things like that. And Alan said a little bit, but I don't feel like Alan's going to grow much from these conversations or this situation. So that's my thought.
I definitely hear that. I think obviously with Alan and Madison, you know, Madison just doesn't want him. You know, Madison doesn't want him. She hasn't wanted him. She's never cared for him in that way. And I get it. I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying to you? But she has dragged him on for the longest time. And, you know, I think she's friend zoned him very comfortably. You know, she says, oh, I feel comfortable telling you this stuff that I've gone through. Yeah. But there's no sexual romantic feelings at all on her end. Hence why she's cheating. You know, on poor Alan. You know what I'm saying? Alan's the only victim here. You know what I'm saying to you? Not Madison, not Madison, not even David, not even Michelle. The only victim here is Alan. He didn't know. You know what I'm saying to you? Now, of course, obviously, we know that she was playing him from the pretty much jump, but you know, she has unfortunately you know, been lying and stringing him along, giving him false hope, you know, giving him half compliments, giving him half kisses on the cheek. You know, she has been stringing that brother along. Okay, all right.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
Because here's where I struggle, right? And maybe you can speak to women. This is the time I give you permission to speak to women here, because I normally say, please stop talking to us. Talk to these men. How do you walk the line of not being disrespectful like Michelle, but not stringing someone along like Madison, but also showing that you respect them as a person? If you were to tell women what to do, what would you tell Madison to do that's better? What should she do differently?
The same thing you told David to do. Tell the truth. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. I mean, hey, look, listen, I get it. This is why we said about David, how it's not easy to tell somebody that you don't like them or you don't fancy them, right? It's not easy for someone to say that. But the reality situation, just like we're saying about David, I believe that he should have been honest. So I agree with you guys. It's the same thing she should have been honest about, right? She does not want that man. She has never wanted that man. The moment that she kissed him on that altar, after that, it was downhill. And it's been downhill ever since. And it's not been recovering anytime. Now, she might tell us and say she was trying to figure it out. She was trying to understand herself. She was trying to see how it could work. Well, if we're going to hold David to the fire, we're going to have to hold her to the fire. Old girl wasn't trying to make anything work. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, and it's okay. Like, it's okay that you weren't willing to make it work. It's okay to know that from very early, it weren't going to work. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, we understand that, like, attraction is a huge piece. And I don't know, like, every year we have this debate, and oftentimes what happens is the men get slated fairly, rightly so, 'cause sometimes we mishandle the process. But we're seeing now and more that the women are also feeling some type of way. But what they do is very clever. They drag it out. They drag it out with these behaviors as if, like, I'm trying to make it work, and they're not. They're not interested, and it's okay because they're not attracted to the person, which makes it very hard to actually want to make a relationship work, because you're looking at him and you're repulsed, and she's repulsed. You know what I'm saying to you? So my thing is, I don't think you have to be rude about it, but I just think that she could just say, hey, similar to what we said about David, I think you just come out clean and be, listen, hey, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not feeling it. You know what I'm saying to you? I'm not feeling it. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. But I get why she's lying. I get why she's dragging it out. I get why she's pretending as if she's trying to make it work. I get it. It's not easy to come out and say it.
I think the difference is for a lot of women, and why, at the point that Madison started cheating, I'm not talking about that point, but I think for women, because our attraction is based sometimes on things that develop, I think as we mature through life, we have learned not to cut people off in a balloon, like picture balloon pop. We've learned not to cut you off superficially, because we know how things grow. And I wonder if Madison was somewhat maybe lying to herself, or or maybe trying to make it work at a point in time. And so that's why I asked the question, because I wonder where it switched from I'm really sincerely trying to make it work to now I'm just outwardly lying. I don't know where that happened, or it did happen at some point.
The broccoli underwear. She would have gave, if he was a normal, if Alan was a normal quirky guy who had his eclectic habits and whatever it may be, and he didn't have them broccoli underwear, she could have handled it. But he was quirky. He was a little, she not her cup of tea in the looks department, and he got broccoli underwear. Oh, that's too many strikes. If you're gonna be like a nice kind of guy, if you're gonna be a nice guy, 90% of the stuff got to be right. Now you're gonna have 10 or 20%. You might have to have a Pokemon collection. You might play some video games a little too much, but that's a little bit. But he was wearing broccoli underwear, and for her, that is the deal breaker.
I disagree. It was her father said he ain't pretty enough. When she saw him, it was over. Sorry.
And did the father say that? He was busy. I thought that was more so her friends and her
It was her sister. It was her sister.
Her friend, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think the dad said that. I the way, listen, again, I'm not a woman, obviously. But I just feel like when you don't like somebody, if you see the person and you don't like them, the odds of you having a 180, it's quicker that you're going to get it's quicker that hell is going to maintain ice cubes. I just there wasn't a chance. And the only time she ever fully looked like she might like Alan, and I even clocked it, was at the wedding reception. And it still was half-hearted there for me, because I saw it. Everything after that showed no indication that there was going to be a tide shift. She continued to nitpick and tell him what he wasn't. So for me, if you are telling somebody what they're not, that is not leaving your mind or giving an impression that you're open to the idea of liking them. When you are so vocal about what that person isn't, what you don't like about them, the things that they need to do better, criticizing, you've checked out. You don't like the person anymore. And if you think that that's going to grow from that, that's why she's having problems and is on Married at First Sight.
Listen, I definitely hear you on that. I think in this instance, she was never changing. Okay, it was, and she may have lied to herself from the very beginning and said to herself, "Let me see how it goes." It's like what we've been telling women a lot of times on these panels: stop doing it. Stop doing it. Most of y'all can't do it. You think you can, you can't. You're giving us half of the effort that you actually want to give. I keep telling you, you give us half efforts. And so that's why I said, like, yes, we do understand women can grow in attraction. We hear it all the time, but we also hear how y'all give half efforts when you're in that space. You know, when you like us, man. You know what I'm saying to you? When you don't like us, you don't like us. And it's okay. You know what I'm saying to you? Choose the one that you like. Look what she's doing now. She's creeping with David, a basement dweller, according to Sean. Okay? Madison, who's got a whole life together, why is she here with a basement dweller? You know what I'm saying to you?
Real life.
according to Sean.
Is he living somewhere else than where the world?
I'm talking about the actual insult rather than actual where he lives. We know he lives in the basement.
Oh, okay.
yeah. I mean, in that sense, you know what I mean. So clearly, for someone who Alan's got it all together, you know what I'm saying to you? He got the little Bentley or whatever car he had. You know, he's got a nice space. He's a well put together kind of individual. You know what I'm saying to you? So what is it would make her go after the basement dweller? So just
Control.
Go for it.
Control.
I mean, that could be it. I don't know if she's going to control David. He's going to cheat on her too. But go on.
No, I think that she knows that she's better than him, and I think that having that in the back of your mind, she likes the ability of having somebody that is, you know, might be, I won't say subservient, but she seems to be doing better than, and has somewhat like their interests start to like coincide. Like they're in fitness, you know. I don't think anything like them fitness chicks, they like a fitness person. So I think that if, like I said, if Alan was a fitness guy, or if he came across more as a fitness guy, she would have dealt with all the other different deficiencies or things that she might not have liked with him. But the fact is that David is a fitness bro. She can, you know, kind of manage him, and they can do things together and their interests coincide. But other than that, I really don't know what it is. I don't think that David is a ugly guy. So, I mean, she checks off the boxes, but how her and her friends were talking about how the people that she's dated, I wouldn't imagine that David is the guy that she probably would have dated in the past. It just doesn't strike me as that.
I don't know what it is, but he's got something that's obviously making her feel some type of way. So, you know, again, I guess, you know, basements won't do it.
Like that text message said.
That's what he said. That's what he said. The eating be good. Can't get rid of Anita. So Madison done. She said she found her eater. She ain't releasing that, brother. But yeah, no. I mean, it's you know, I think obviously when you look at you know, this situation, you know, I think Madison, you know, should just be honest with herself and just know that she wasn't going to be in it no more. You know what I'm saying? She's same with David. He needs to be honest with himself and just tell the truth and come clean that, you know what, this is not the time. I don't want you anymore, you know? But I definitely feel like Madison was trying. She's been trying from the very beginning, but she tried with, you know, what I would say is knowing that it probably wasn't going to work, but she wanted to give it a fair shot, as fair as she could give. That's what I'd say, as fair as she could give, with all the energy she could muster. But when I look at her, looking at him, I just see the repulsiveness, and when ladies are in that space, there is no coming back. There is no coming back. That girl is repulsed by him, and you know, that's why she can't compliment him. That's why she can't let him touch her. That's why she can only give him a kiss on the cheek. She is repulsed at the idea of even sleeping with that brother, let alone him touching her. So, yeah, sure, go for it.
Another concept, you know, or of a plan that I have. So, or of a plan that I think they had. Well, I think they started a work romance. That's how I think they started. They started one of those work romances where they were working out at the honeymoon, having a good time, bonding. Then they started exchanging text messages. You know, they started exchanging stories about what's going on with each other. And then they found confidence in each other and found a safe space in a not so safe space. And I think that is probably a little bit of their origin story, or at least what I think is how it started. And I think the other part is another one of the reasons, and people do this when they get into these illicit affairs, she don't want to betray David. So that's another reason why she really has to push back even more so on Alan. So it might not be all the way about Alan. It might just be about David. It might be about, I can't betray my real dude, because if I do that, then I'm betraying him. Because I know he ain't doing nothing with Michelle, so I can't be doing nothing with Alan.
That boy preaching.
The loyalty to the side nigga, that can't be real. That does exist.
And he ain't side no more. He was never the side. That's the problem. Alan was the side.
Alan was the side.
He just didn't know it.
Boy was showing off his jacket, everything. Couldn't get no play. That's the worst.
How you gonna be a side and be married?
Alan, keep your drawers, because you could have had on premium Calvin Klein boxer briefs. It wouldn't have made no difference.
It would have made no difference.
It wouldn't have made no difference.
She was not growing in any attraction
Jay
towards
said
you, brother.
you doing the L Sid J dark arts right now.
Hey.
No offense to Alan. Alan being the side piece in the marriage is crazy work, bro. You know what I'm saying to you? But yeah, I mean, but again, I guess because again, I understand that this is not a usual situation. They have no baseline. There's no emotional investment from the very beginning. So it's very different, the betrayal in this instance, than it is when you have actual emotional ties to somebody. They don't have that. You know what I'm saying? So I also understand that perspective. But again, she just needs to have a conversation. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. All right, let's shift it then to the last one, which is Thomas and Camille, your favorite couple.
Oh my dig, we got more couples. Who's left? Oh Lord.
Thomas and Camille's the last one. Thomas and Camille will be the last one. You know, your favorite couple, because you know, I love to see what else happened between Camille and Thomas. You know, and they're growing more and more on me. You know, I think they're gonna make it. You know, I think they could have a happy, everlasting marriage. I think Camille, while she might be a little bit of a pushy person, a little bit sometimes, she gonna be a softie. You know what I'm saying to you? I feel like she's gonna be a softie, and it was good to hear their backgrounds as well, and how she supported him when she went to the mum. I loved how she handled the mum, you know, with compassion, with care, and was just there for him. And I loved when they went to their house. Now they're still lacking a little bit of that intimacy. It's going to be a little bit fair. When he sat on the couch at her house, yeah, it was still giving a little bit scared of the body. You know what I'm saying to you? And that's probably what she's trying to get. That's what she's trying to beat out of him. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think that's what she's trying to get him to be a little bit more. You know what I mean? Yeah, before she ends up like Madison. But yeah, I think she definitely wants a bit more of that pizzazz, a little bit more of that smoothness. You know, you want the person to be like on you, but like not like on you in a sense of like it's corny, but on you in a sense of way that it's I want you, I desire you, I want you know what I'm saying? To like a bit more passion. You know what I'm saying? The passion with the H in there. You know what I'm saying? I know he thrown it down in the bedroom. I'm talking about the intimacy of holding hands. I'm talking about the intimacy of being able to touch, not being afraid of that physical intimacy where it's like not too much, but it's enough. Do you know what I'm saying to you? You know when you see a couple that they're not doing too much, they're doing enough. You know, so you know they're a couple, you know they're in love, but they're not doing too much. You're like, oh my gosh, get a room. You know what I mean? I just felt like there's a little bit of separation when I watched them a little bit, and I think it'll probably change over time when they get more comfortable. But just something I just saw as well. Okay. Someone said not in front of family. No, but at least her knees can touch. Damn. What, your knees can't touch? What's your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I think Camille needs to lead in that. You know, because any woman that I've been with that is affectionate, they've been the ones to lead in that category, especially if I'm with your family, then I need you to put your hand on my knee. You know, I need you to wrap your arm around my shoulder so that your dad can see, hey, this is the inner, you know, this is, you know, and from a respect standpoint. So if she wants it, she needs to lead in it. And she's not the softest of softies either. Because she done run that man up and down the basketball court, giving him an exercise beyond exercise. She done beat this man. Thomas is long suffering. That's who's long suffering, because he's had to endure her antics for the last month and change, and he's still holding steady. I do like them. I'm rooting for them. I want them to make it. I need Camille to don't do too much. Just, don't ruin it. And listen, this is the old school Southern kind of guy in me. Don't call his biological mom by her first name. Throw a miss in front of it, do something. I don't like that. I probably got some trauma because a couple of my exes went wrong doing that with my mama, and it just never worked out right. But I just think you should hit them with a miss, even if they say, call me Finney, Miss Finney. Get so comfortable with that mama like she's your contemporary. She is not, and I'm just a formal person that way. Since Camille wants to give out advice, I got some advice for her. Make sure you are leaning in with respect, and you can lead with some affection yourself.
I must have fast forwarded watching too fast through her calling the mama by her first name. I'm good for the fast forward now because I wouldn't like that. But all I wanted to say was I was very surprised at Camille's ability to really lean in and comfort his mom and how comfortable they seem together and how understanding and soft she can. And as a person who doesn't have childhood trauma but also struggles being affectionate, not all of us have deep, dark childhood trauma. Some of us just don't like hugs. And that doesn't mean we mean it evil. We just struggle with that, okay? As a person who struggles with that, most of my friends know they got to ask me permission before they give me a hug because I'm ridiculous. But that's just how I am. So I guess I just identify with Camille in that way. But there are certain people and certain things that do bring the softness out of me. And it seems like his mom did that for Camille. And it does get better. And I think Thomas is the person that can work with Camille on that and kind of, work with her on that. Because not everybody is very affectionate. And that doesn't mean that they don't deserve love. And so, maybe I'm projecting here. But I do see a lot of Camille in myself. And I do think there's somebody out there for her. And I do think it's Thomas that can work with her on that. And I do think it will get better. And I just also want to say that her family, I saw a lot of her softness with her grandmother. I'm the same way. I'm the biggest softie with my grandma. And so Camille has it in her. And Thomas and Camille, their vibe together really meshed. Like their family meshed. They meshed well. So I think they're going to be fine.
I'm with Sean. Thomas doesn't call his mother by her first name like that. So I would have probably, mimicked, if not the whole Miss thing. But I will just give, because she hasn't done anything else, I will just give the grace of maybe she said, just call me XYZ. And even when I'm told that, I'm uncomfortable and I'm like, well, you know what? I just would prefer to, say Miss or whatever. But I get it with Sean. It did make me pause the TV screen once I saw, like, whoa, wait a minute. And this is his mother that he's had, what was it? Is it 7 years they've known each other? That's rough. He's grown all this time and now he is forming a relationship with his mom. So I did like that Camille could kind of lean into, understand that it's a difficult position to be in because both the mom and Thomas were having an emotional moment. And it's kind of like, for me, in looking at the scene, like, who do you comfort? There are two people in the room needing that rub on the back, and the mom, I think, really, really felt that. And I don't want to say she really needed that because Thomas looked like he would have welcomed that as well. So it was nice to see Camille doing that. Jay says so we don't have to worry about Thomas cheating. If he long suffering, if you gonna make him suffer every time he gonna be late, he gonna be running and pulling a hamstring, he may go find somebody who could rub it out for him. I'm sorry. I was gonna leave it alone, but Jay say so. You brought it up. I was gonna leave it alone. But y'all bring it up in the chat, I'll bring it up here. So it was nice to see that, but I see now with the dad and the uncle, kind of the suave that Camille is looking for. I wonder if that is what she's looking for. But I I did notice she wore the necklace he bought her, which was very, very nice considering. So yeah, they hold out some hope, the best hope out of any couple, but I'm not gonna say I'm throwing, rice at the wedding quite yet.
I'll throw the rice and have the doves and help with the broom that they can jump over, whatever they got to do, because they're gonna make it to the end. I'm putting all my money and all my chips on Thomas and Camille. It's getting boring, real boring, which I like. To me is getting really boring, and that's again, like I said last week, is a telltale sign. The arguments become a little bit more realistic and more. I mean, again, granted, it's been a crazy year for truths and reality. For whether it be Love Is Blind or Mavs or any show under the sun, but this to me seems like a real relationship where there's some type of basic kind of issues, or maybe the same kind of questions run up in terms of are our families going to mesh well together? What you're going to call my mom, or what are you going to call my dad, or who's going to how am I going to act in front of them? And so I think, again, I'll be nitpicky. Camille, probably, like Sean and Elsa said, I think that she could have been a lot more respectful. Sean was saying, the Southern man in me, to call my mom miss this, mom. You can even roll with the mama. You could go with the mama, whatever her name is. You could rock with that, but be super respectful. I saw Thomas, him being apprehensive to me seemed like he was trying to be respectful of the people that he was around, not necessarily that he didn't want to be affectionate with Camille. It's just the fact that hey, I'm around family members, and also I'm not well versed with them. We ain't been around each other for a long time. How about let's play this cool and act like we are saints, even though we bumping uglies behind closed doors. So I think they're doing good. I love to see it. And Camille is slowly growing on me. I hope that she doesn't let her own personal preferences get in the way of Thomas, because Thomas seems like he's a really good guy. Although he did cheat 9 years ago, I think that he did learn from that, and hopefully, was it 9 years ago? Was I wrong?
The relationship was 9 years long. It was not 9 years ago.
Okay, he cheated in his 9-year relationship. I think he's learned from that, and hopefully he, continues to be the shining star of this season from the men's department.
Yeah, listen, I can't lie to you. I mean, they're getting boring, and like you said, Easton, it's very good because it means that they're more than likely are working things out behind the scenes. More than likely that actually they're actually not doing too much that's going to cause instability, as well. So to be honest, I definitely can understand that particular perspective. I mean, there's still things that I think they can work on, but I definitely take that perspective onwards as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing them make it into the finish line, because we've got other couples who are not going to make it there. You know what I mean? Everyone else's cart has crashed, and we're hoping for these people's cart to cross the finishing line and to pass the 8 weeks and be able to stand strong, and hopefully it can be a long-lasting marriage as well. But yeah, no, watching them, I think this episode was, again, good. Like I said, I think the support for each other was great. I think they need to start working on that intimacy aspect. It does seem a little bit touch-starved. Just a little bit touch-starved. You know what I'm saying to you? Listen, y'all can mangle and detangle and everything else in the bedroom. But sometimes when you see that lack of touch and physicality, the sex can only make up for so much before that physicality will begin to become a problem. And what I mean by that is that couples naturally, and that's not all, again, I want to make it very clear, there are a lot of exceptions to the rule when we say this, but a lot of good couples that have good chemistry in terms of they're gelling well and they are coming close together. That touch naturally becomes part of their emphasis as well, right? And it doesn't have to be like I'm holding you forever. It means there's little touches and little moments where you can be comfortable enough to be able to engage with each other. And I know it was the parents' household, right? So, you don't want to be doing too much, but you're acting like you're teenagers in the household. Like you're about to be told off by the dad and the mum for being close to each other. You're damn married. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, so I'm just saying that in the space of like, you kind of find your baseline in terms of what are comfortable touches that are not too much. Like, you don't have to have your whole hand on her knee forever, please. That might look a bit dangerous, you know what I mean? Or your hand, at her lower nape of her back. Yeah, that might be a little bit too much. But just the little touches that show that, you lot are connected, But again, that's my perspective. It doesn't necessarily mean that's the absolute truth. There may be a couple who doesn't necessarily need to be so touchy-feely in that particular space as well. So just something I observed as well. Any other thoughts on Thomas and Camille for you guys? Any other thoughts on this couple? No? We about to round it up. If that's the case, we gonna round it up. All right, cool. Well, Sean, you know what you do? Deacon, benediction away.
Okay. El Cid asked, I was looking for it, but since I'm about to do the benediction, someone asked for the membership link, and they sent a super chat, I believe, too. Krista Pulley. So I think, listen, I think this episode was productive / unproductive. Unproductive for some people that already have other relationships growing outside of their own marriages. So I would say the advice there is that, sweep in front of your home porch before you start tending to somebody else's. And by that, I mean, take care of what's going on at home before you start venturing outside. Very important also, let your honesty be your honesty. Don't have your honesty determined by somebody else's dishonesty or their actions. Be who you are, not who you think somebody expects you to be. So I think that's very important, that in relationships, we show up as who we are always. And if challenged with the truth, be honest. Being honest is the best way to counter a lie, because nobody can tell you can't get tripped up in it. Next, we have Ike and Emem. We've said it. The only way to deal with somebody that is problematic or showing you signs of narcissism is to go cold turkey. Ice them out. Don't give them any energy. Don't give them a chance with you. Don't give them wiggle room. Don't give them anything. Let them go. Free yourself. Free yourself from those people who are only going to bring you down. Don't get caught up in trying to trap them. Don't get caught up in trying to let to allow someone to show their colors. Let God do that. Let vengeance be his, because when you try to take on vengeance, it often doesn't work, and then you get tripped up. Thomas and Camille, they're moving along very nicely. We love to see it continue to grow. I think they are a perfect example for working through challenges, being honest, being vulnerable, and continue to be open to feedback from both sides. So don't, also get so caught up, Camille, in being the one that's always asking, telling, doing, but allow somebody to ask, allow somebody to tell, allow somebody to do for you, right? And also ask somebody what they would like to see more from you. It's always good to be to be an advocate for your own needs, but also in marriages, you should be an advocate for your spouse's needs. Juan and Karla, look, trauma dumping is a thing. So I think we should try to avoid that in our relationships. We can share traumas, but we don't want to dump them. It should be an equal exchange. And also, what is our end goal? What is our end goal in sharing our trauma? If it's sympathy, if it's pity, sometimes we need to self-examine that, right? And how we share and why we share what we share. Last but not least, Alan and Madison, look, if you don't want me, then don't talk to me. Don't try to grow something that's not there. If it's not a seed that's planted, then you can't grow. It can't grow. The dirt doesn't grow without a seed. So please, don't try to grow something that's not there. And if you know it's not there, be honest with the person and set them free. Back to you, Kojo.
Thank you very much, Sean. Appreciate that. Listen, audience, we had a great time tonight. Listen, it's been fun. We'll be back again next week. Obviously, all hands will be on deck again next week now. So I'll be back in UK so I can properly do more reviews and stuff for you guys as well. Obviously I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight Australia. Man, that's a daily operation, so I'm gonna do my best, you know what I'm saying to you. So I've determined myself to start reviewing that show as well, so I start looking out for those reviews, you know, and yeah, it should be fun to kind of do some of those reviews as well. And also as well, we will shout out to Krista Pulley. Yeah, the link is in the chat, and I've pinned it now, I believe, as well. So you should see it in the chat. If you want to join a membership, it's in the chat as well. Thank you for the super chat as well. Appreciate it. So yeah, we'll have Married at First Sight. So we'll continue this next week again. We're back to the men's resuming the men's talk as well again for Married at First Sight next week as well. We might actually I might do it as an alternative weeks where I get the men just to discuss a different topic, because there's a lot of things that are going on in the relationship world. It would be good to have the men just having some of the talks on some of these things as well, you know, taking Seaway's advice, you know, men go and speak to the men, so we're gonna get the men to talk, okay? But yes, we are resuming All Hands on Deck, because Ready to Love is also starting in February, so that will begin as well. So we'll have our Saturday nights back as well. So, you know, now I'm trying to follow Jesus more. I can't be out on Saturday night, so boy, better do some work while we're there. So we'll definitely be chopping up on Ready to Love as well for you guys, so look forward to those as well. Okay, no more DEI on the oh Sid. When they come collecting you live, I can't do nothing for you but pray. But anyway, listen, audience members, we will see you next week. Like I said, All Hands on Deck will be there, and yeah, sorry about that, private joke got released, I apologize. We'll definitely that was so bad, my bad. You know, when you're just reading, I literally was just reading, and that was a problem. I was just reading. Yeah, so apologies, guys. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. We're going to see you again very, very soon, all right? Very, very soon. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. There's not much I've changed. There's a lot I wouldn't do now, so be careful out there. All right. Ta-ra, ta-ra.
Little black book. You know what time it is.